In the bustling city of Brassivan, where chimneys puffed clouds of steam and gears turned like beating drums, there lived a lion named Tao. Now, Tao wasn't your ordinary lion. Oh no. You see, Tao was a baby lion. A tiny ball of fluff with oversized paws and ears that twitched at every passing zeppelin. His golden fur shimmered like polished brass, and instead of a purr, he had a giggle that sounded like wind chimes. But what truly set Tao apart was his heart. It didn't tick and talk like the clockwork hearts the people of Brassivan wore around their necks. For Tao had a natural one, a soft golden orb that glowed faintly with life.
Whenever he felt joy, his heart would pulse brighter,
Casting dancing shadows on the walls of his home in the Gears and Gadgets Emporium run by his inventor father. One day, while playing hide-and-seek with his mother, a majestic lioness with emerald green eyes, Tao wandered into the Emporium's back room.
There, amidst the half-finished contraptions and worry machines, sat an old music box.
Its ballerina was frozen mid-pirouette, and a single brass key lay forgotten nearby. Curiosity sparked in Tao's eyes. He nudged the key, then placed it in the keyhole and gave it a turn. The music box whirred to life, filling the room with a tinkling tune. Suddenly, a small, intricately crafted bird unfolded its wings from the ballerina's skirt and flew toward Tao. Perched on his finger, the tiny clockwork bird chirped excitedly, its gears turning like 1,000 tiny hammers.
With a wave of its wing, it pointed its beak toward the door and chirped again.
Tao, understanding its urgency, dashed outside, the bird fluttering around him like a compass.
In the bustling marketplace, Tao spotted a familiar figure. It was Gideon, a boy with messy brown hair and kind eyes. He was different from the other children of Brasshaven, for instead of the steady tick of a clockwork heart, silence emanated from his chest. Some said it was a blessing to be free of the constant ticking, but most pitied Gideon, believing him to be purposeless without a heart to measure his life. They called him Purposeless Gideon, and the name echoed sadly in the empty chambers within him. All Gideon wanted was to hear the comforting tick of a heart, even if it wasn't his own. As Tao drew closer, he saw tears glistening in Gideon's eyes. The sight tugged at his heartstrings, or rather his glowy golden heart. Nudging Gideon with his wet nose, Tao whimpered softly, trying to comfort the boy. Startled, Gideon wiped his tears away, then looked down at the tiny lion. A small smile touched his lips as he scratched behind Tao's ears. "Hello, little one," he whispered, and in that moment, surrounded by the cacophony of the marketplace, Gideon heard a new sound, a faint but steady thump, thump, thump. It was coming from his chest, from the very spot where his heart should have been. Overjoyed, he cupped his hands around his heart, listening intently. Thump, 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 blah. Could it be? Was he hearing the tick-tock of a heart at last? But suddenly, the ground beneath them rumbled, and a giant gear-like creature stomped into the marketplace, scattering people and merchandise in its path. Its metal legs clanked, and its face, obscured by a thick layer of grime, held an expression of grim determination. With a loud, "Out of my way," it shoved aside anyone who dared stand in its path. It was heading straight for Gideon. Fear tightened Gideon's throat. What did the creature want with him? Was this his punishment for being purposeless? For having no heart?
Just as the creature loomed over him, ready to strike, a small, chirping sound cut through the air.
The clockwork bird swooped down from above, distracting the creature. In that instant, Gideon reacted. He scooped up the bird, then ran, stumbling over crates and leaping over fallen buckets. He didn't know where he was going, but anywhere was better than staying in the open where the creature could crush him with a single stomp. Through the crowd, Gideon spotted a narrow alleyway and darted inside, catching his breath. He turned to check on the bird, only to find it had vanished. Then, to his astonishment, he heard a soft, reassuring tick. Tick, tick, tick,
coming from his pocket.
Startled, he opened his coat and pulled out the tiny clockwork bird.
Its gears were turning, and a pleased chirp echoed in the confines of his pocket.
Glancing up, Gideon noticed a loose brick in the wall, and as he pushed it aside, a keyhole appeared. He knew instinctively what he had to do.
Inserting the key, he turned it, and a faint glow filled the space.
As the light intensified, a staircase made of polished brass and copper appeared, spiraling upwards into the darkness. Before Gideon could decide what to do, a shadow fell over him. Looking up, he saw the massive gear-like creature blocking the entrance. Its metallic eyes gleamed with a cold fire, and its voice was like grinding gears. "Give me the bird," it demanded, "and I might show you some mercy." Gideon clutched the bird tightly. "No," he whispered, surprising even himself with his sudden boldness. "I won't let you hurt it." Enraged, the creature lunged, but before it could grab him, a small voice rang out. "Leave him alone." Startled, Gideon and the creature turned to see Tao standing on a crate, his tiny frame glowing bravely. The creature snarled, then charged toward the little lion. With lightning-fast reflexes, Tao leaped onto its face, clawing at its eyes. Roaring in pain, the creature swatted at him, sending Tao flying. But before it could finish off the cub, Gideon stepped in. Without thinking, he kicked out, catching the creature's knee in a surprisingly strong kick. Stunned by the unexpected pain, the creature stumbled. And in that instant, Gideon grabbed its leg, pulling it close. "Help me!" he cried, and somehow his voice echoed with power. Startled by the sudden change in Gideon, the creature struggled, but it was too late. The combined strength of the boy and the tiny lion sent it crashing to the ground, where it lay still, panting heavily. Gideon helped Tao down from the creature's face. And as the adrenaline faded, he felt something stir inside him, something warm and steady. He placed a hand over his heart and smiled. It was beating. Actually, beating. And so, with Tao by his side, Gideon set out on the path to discover why the creature had targeted him, and where the mysterious clockwork bird was leading them. Their journey took them through forests, where trees grew brass leaves that clinked in the wind, across mountains where steam hissed like a dragon's breath, and over rivers crossed by iron bridges that rattled with each step. Along the way, Tao's curiosity kept their spirits alive. He chased after gearbirds with feathered cogs, tumbled in wildflower fields that smelled faintly of oil and lilac, and nudged Gideon forward whenever doubt slowed him down.
At last, they reached the towering workshop of the clockmaker, a legend in Brosgaven, whose creations were said to hold magic.
His goggles glowed like twin lanterns, and his beard was dusted with the fine metal shavings of 1,000 creations. "You seek a purpose?" the clockmaker rumbled to Gideon. "It is here, in the ticking of your heart, that you will find it." But before Gideon could answer, Tao padded forward, his little heart glowing brighter than ever.
The clockmaker paused, staring at the cub.
"This lion has no clockwork heart, yet he is alive with joy, curiosity, and love. Perhaps purpose is not given by ticking cogs, but by the paths we choose and those we share them with." Realization dawned on Gideon. Purpose wasn't something he had, it was something he lived. It wasn't measured by a clockwork heart, but by the connections he made along the way. And so, with a newfound sense of purpose, Gideon and Tao continued their journey, eager to see where the road ahead would take them. If you'd like this to become a longer Pixar-style screenplay outline, please like and comment. Thank you for watching.